If the logic is pure diamond, I can say Brahma Sutra is jewel made out of pure diamond stone without adding any metal. It is not jewel studded with diamond stones, it is made out of diamond stone. Huge diamond stone, just it has been drilled, carved and made into a jewel. That's a description of Brahma Sutra. I'm just downloading the sutra. Because the sutra is established on 12 logic. I'm just releasing one by one each logic on which the sutra is built. Let me read out the sutra to you. Now I'm going to show you how this one sutra need to be understood in 12 logical way. Tannishtasya mokshobadesat. Pradhana is not the meaning of the word self, because liberation is promised for the one who holds on to that. Any of you understand? See, in the earlier sutras, there was an argument presented. Source, pradhana, origin is not matter. But the opponents in the Pada Pradivada, one group says, why it should not be matter? Why pradhana is not self? Because pradhana itself does not get liberated. It is eternally liberated. Liberation is for the self, I can say identity, which is trying to hang on to the pradhana. Understand, this whole thing is psychodrama. If you feel you are poor, you will feel the rich man is greater than you. If you feel you are powerless, you will feel the powerful man is greater than you. So when you become rich, who is liberated from poverty? The person who feels himself as poor that identity is liberated from poverty. When you become powerful, the identity which feels you are powerless is liberated from powerlessness. If you feel you are ignorant, during enlightenment, the identity which feels it is ignorant is liberated from ignorance. But the pradhana itself is neither bound nor liberated. That is why when you are enlightened, you don't feel something new has happened in you. I tell you, I never felt something new has happened in me. I only felt I had something which was lost. It's like I tell you exactly what happens, what you feel. When you become 25, suddenly one day if you see all the toys with which you played, and you feel, oh God, these toys meant so much for me at the young age. It was almost like my life. But now they don't mean anything to me. They neither bind me nor liberate me. You think at the age of 25 the toys are giving you liberation? You are beyond the liberation granted by toys. Same way, I suddenly felt I am beyond the liberation granted by the ignorance. I just felt, you are not even qualified to give liberation to me, get lost. If you have some mud toys, with which you played in the young age, for which you are ready to even kick your mother, ready to give up anything else except the toys, at the age of 25 you look at the toys, do you say, no, I was bound by you at some time, please give me liberation. No, I think I don't want to get caught with you again at all. No, I am afraid I may get interested in you after 3-4 years. Please liberate me. I should go and sit and listen to some sutra which says Toy Brahma Sutra, which teaches me how to disconnect yourself from toy. Do not remember the toys, do not see the toys, do not hear about them. Keep them away from the country where you are living or move them out of the country. No. Even if the toys suddenly become alive and say, oh my son, don't worry, I give you the liberation. You are liberated from me. What are you going to say? Get lost. Who cares for the liberation you give? That's what exactly I felt. At the age of 22, 2000, suddenly I felt, even if the Maya, the ignorance, appears in front of me and says, oh my son, I liberate you. Get lost, who cares? I felt the ignorance and bondage which can be added by the illusion and delusion has not only disappeared from my inner space, it has just does not make any sense anymore. It does not make any sense anymore. Suddenly you feel you have grown out of it. I wanted to let you know, when you grow out of something, you will not have hatred. Do you hate those toys? How dare these toys have bound me once upon a time? I'll break all of them. No. Unless you are psychologically sick. You won't break them. And you won't make them. Just you are beyond the liberation granted by the toys. Now they can't even tell, I liberate you. No. It's like Ramakrishna's story, beautiful story, in the puffed rice festival in Bengal, West Bengal. There used to be a very great village festival, Panihati puffed rice festival, where the devotees buy the puffed rice and offer it to the deity. So one guy who was selling puffed rice, the merchant, even when the deity is taken in the procession in front of his merchant, his shop, he will not offer one handful of puffed rice to the deity. He's such a miser guy. But one day there was a heavy breeze and all the puffed rice was blowing in the air, being blown in the air, and they are all flying. Then suddenly he got the great devotion and said, Narayana Arpanamastu, Narayana Arpanamastu, Narayana Arpanamastu. Let all these be offered to Narayana. Now he knows he can't hold. But who wants his offering? Narayana will be standing and laughing somewhere. Same way, when the toys give you the liberation, you will be standing and laughing somewhere. Liberation offered by toys is no way useful for you. That is the moment you are liberated from toys. That is why I call Maya Tita. That was one of the name I used during my wandering. It's my favorite name. Maya Tita. I used 54 names. The 54th name is Paramahamsa Nityananda. Used 54 names during my wandering. It's a rule of the wandering not to use the same name when you go to the different places. Because in one place, if you get the good name, devotees find your greatness, they should not inform the other cities to receive you and take care of you. You should go as a beginner and be able to inspire people by your very radiance and presence and the body language. I have seen in many villages, usually in all villages in North India, there will be a huge banyan tree in the center of the village or a neem tree, under which there will be small deities, or the old people will be sitting and talking. But one good thing in North India, I have always seen the elders sitting and talking some philosophy or Bhagavatam or all those things. So usually, this is the way I will start typically in any village. When I give entrance, I will find out that solitary temple or the tree, go and sit. Usually first day people will look up and down and walk. Second day they will see without even changing the posture, I am just sitting. They will look curiously. By second day evening they will ask. They will not know whether I speak their language or not, so they will ask in the, just through action. Baba Kana, I will say. If I say, then they will walk. Third day, usually morning, I will see that they will not even ask. They will be there with little food or fruits or Usually only uncooked things they will bring, because there is an apprehension that sadhus may not eat the cooked food, cooked by somebody else. So uncooked food they will bring. But when I eat the fruits, they will know, oh, he will accept cooked food. Then by third day, it will be a feast. If I stay there for a week and leave, I'll see at least some 20 people will be walking with me till I go to the next place. They will walk with me at least for 3-4 hours. This is a usual drama. This is a usual drama even while I was traveling in US to teach. When I land, nobody will be there to receive. Only myself and Ragini will go. She will drive and find out the organizer name, who wants to host us, not even organizer, who wants to host us. Then after 3-day public satsang and 1 ASP, when I leave, some 40 people will be standing in the airport with the tears to give me farewell. It's a usual drama. If you are an old devotee, you can remember the good old days. It's a usual drama. Maya Tita means even if Maya appears in front of you and says, I liberate you, you will say, who are you? Relax, go and take care of your job. So enlightenment is not for your original existence. It is for the identity in you which feels it is bound. See, a man who is working for wealth, feeling consciously poverty as the first important problem in his life, does not feel the necessity for enlightenment. He does not suffer so much with his ignorance, because he is suffering with his poverty. His whole inner space is occupied by the poverty. So for him, rich man is a liberated man. He is the God. That is why he worships rich man, runs behind rich man, tries to become like him. But always underground there is a strong jealous and vengeance towards that rich man. Same way an intelligent man. When an ignorant guy looks at the intelligent man, he worships him. He feels he should become like that intelligent man, runs behind. Literally ready to do anything to become intelligent.